Jonathan with Iron Mind Hypnosis here. What's coming to me as the seventh thing that I would want everyone to know about hypnosis is it's actually a little bit about you again. There are a lot of ways to experience suffering in in this life. Big ways, things like relationships, career, just life going not the way you want. Big ways, small ways. Things like not getting the ketchup packets you needed in the drive-thru. Big ways and small ways. Ways that you might experience just the slightest twinge of suffering, and ways that will mess you up for years. And what they all have in common, because some of these things have very much to do with a physical circumstance. Some of these things have very much to do with the way you think about a thing. Some of these things have to do with your interpersonal interactions. Some of these things have to do with money. Some of these things have to do with relationships. Some of these things have to do with your physical comfort. The list goes on and on and on for things that can bring you into a place of suffering, or act as a seed for that suffering. What they all have in common, though, is your mind. Now, this is in no way to say that your mind is broken, or your mind is nefarious, or causes you suffering. But all these sources of suffering, small ones, big ones, that happen in your experience, have to pass through your mind in some way. They have to be processed. The information from the outside world has to be analyzed in a certain way, has to be received, has to be processed. Understandings have to be made. Emotions have to be generated. That's how these things go. They have to be compared against what you were expecting to know if it's good or bad. All this internal machinery. And this goes for everything from I've got a pain here to I've got a habit that I don't want to have. I react poorly in certain circumstances. Somebody did me wrong. I don't behave the way I want to behave. All of these things are to do with things coming into your mind and the output from your mind, possibly through your body, out into the world, and the feedback loop there. Why I mention this is that because every sort of suffering that you can experience is in some way linked in with your mind. It means that if there is a way for you to change the way you think, feel, behave around that thing, well, then you don't have to suffer. And you certainly don't have to suffer the same way. So, what if there was a way to think differently about a thing, to feel differently when a certain situation arises, to interact differently with other people or the world when a situation comes up, an event, a thought, whatever the trigger is? What if your actions could change? Well, given that so much of what we do, certainly our emotional world, is the domain of our unconscious mind, well, I just want you to know that suffering in this life may not strictly be optional, but you got a lot of choice in what you're going to continue to suffer about. So realize that suffering doesn't have to be permanent. Certainly, the ways you're used to experiencing this world don't have to stay that way. You can change anything that's important to you, anything that causes you suffering is mutable. Maybe not the outside world thing, but as it impacts on your body and the thing between your ears, that's pretty mutable. You've got options. And I just want you to know that, well, you've got options around anything that's really, really having an impact on your life. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.